Good morning, students. Welcome to the next session of the lesson Federalism, Grade 10, Political Science. I hope the topics which I covered in the last session was clear to you. We have already discussed what is federalism, features of federalism, and types of federalism. In this part, we would be discussing the characteristics of Indian federalism and federalism practiced in India, that is the type of federal setup which we have into our country. And the last topic, that is decentralization in India, would be dealt in the third part. We have earlier seen that how small countries like Belgium, Sri Lanka face so many problems of managing diversity. So you can understand that a country like India, which has got diversity in the field of language, religion, region, how difficult it would have been for our constitution makers to manage all these diversities together. Now in this slide we are going to study that what has made India a federal country. If you remember, in the first part we discussed all the features of federalism. Now you have to see that all the features of federalism are applicable to our country or not. And if you do a comparative study with your previous slides of the previous part, which talks about the features of federalism, you will see that all the features of federalism has been included into our constitution. The first one was Constitution has declared India as a union of states. Soon after independence, several princely states became part of the country. The Constitution declared India as a union of states. Although it did not use the word federation, the Indian Union is based on the principles of federalism. The next point is, the Constitution originally provided for a two-tier system of government. The union government is also called as the central government, representing the Union of India, and the state government. Later on, a third tier of federalism was added in the form of panchayats and municipalities. As in any federation, these different tiers enjoy separate jurisdiction, which we had discussed earlier also, the area through which they can exercise their powers. The Constitution clearly provided a threefold distribution of legislative powers between the union government and the state government, which is also called as the union list, state list, and concurrent list. This thing we would be again reading it in detail into the next slide. Now the fourth point says that all states in India do not have identical powers. As you know that some states in India like Jammu and Kashmir enjoyed a special status. They had a separate constitution. The Article 370 of the Indian Constitution gave special status to Jammu and Kashmir, but last year on 5th August 2019 the Article 370 ceased to exist. Kindly do a research on Article 370 so that you would be able to understand what were the special provision which was given to Jammu and Kashmir, which would not be applicable in the near future. There are some units of the Indian Union which enjoy very little power. These are areas which are too small to become an independent state, but which could not be merged with any of the existing state. These areas like Chandigarh, Lakshadweep are called as the union territories. These territories do not have the powers of the state. The central government has a special power in running these areas. Next provision of the Constitution which makes India a federal country is that it is not easy to make changes to this power sharing arrangement. The Parliament cannot on its own change this arrangement. Any change to it has to be first passed by both the houses of Parliament with at least 2/3 majority. Then it has to be ratified by the legislature of at least half of the total states. And finally, in case of any dispute about the division of powers, the High Courts and the Supreme Courts make the final decision. They take the final decision regarding it. So after studying all this, you can correlate to the features of federalism, and you can very easily understand that all the features of federalism has been included into our constitution, though the word federalism has never been used in the constitution, but still India becomes a federal country because all the features of federalism are applicable. We discussed in the previous slide that the constitution clearly provided a threefold distribution of legislative powers between the union government and the state government. Thus it contains three lists: union list, state list and concurrent list. Union list. Now union list contains subjects of national importance such as defense, foreign affairs, banking, communications and currency, where only the union government, or the central government as we call it, can make laws. The state list. Next is the state list. The state list contains subjects of state and the local importance such as police, trade, commerce, agriculture and irrigation, and the state government alone can make laws. The last one is the concurrent list. This includes subjects of common interest which is common to both the central government as well as the state government, like education, forest, trade unions, marriage, adoption, succession. So these three lists have been bifurcated properly into the constitution, so that the disputes between the center and the state or disputes between the states is minimized. Now the question must be into your mind that what about subjects that do not fall into any of the three categories, or subjects like computer softwares that came up after the constitution was made. According to our constitution, the union government has the power to legislate on these residuary subjects. So the subjects which were not there when the constitution was made falls into the category of residuary powers, and the union government alone has the power to make laws regarding all the residuary powers. Now let's discuss how India practices this power sharing, because the constitutional provisions are necessary for the success of federalism, but these are not sufficient. If the federal experiment has succeeded in India, it is not merely because of the clearly laid out constitutional provision. The real success of federalism in India can be attributed to the nature of democratic politics in our country. This ensured that the spirit of federalism, respect for diversity, and desire for living together became a shared ideal in our country. Now let us look at some of the major ways in which this has happened. The creation of linguistic state was the first and major test for democratic politics in our country. In 1947 and even after, the boundaries of several old states of India were changed in order to create new states on the basis of language or to recognize differences based on culture, ethnicity or geography. The second point, no language has been given the status of national language by the Constitution. Hindi and 21 other languages have been recognized as the scheduled language, but many times we get confused and we say that Hindi is our national language. Hindi is our national language, but along with other 21 other regional languages also. So there are all these languages, regional languages, are also considered in the Schedule 21 of the Indian Constitution, and no language has been given the status of the national language. This kind of flexibility in the language policy helped to maintain the spirit of federation in India. Next is that the beginning of the era of coalition government at the center in 1990 led to a new culture of power sharing and respect for the autonomy of state governments. Into your grade 9, we have discussed what a coalition government is, when two or more political parties come together in order to form the government, because no single party gets the majority to form the government, and having a regular election is a costly affair. So two or more political parties come together and they form the government. So coalition government is a phenomena which started from the 1990s, because before that it was a one major political party, that is the Congress party, which used to get the maximum number of seats. So coalition government is the new system which has been there since 1990. And the last one, that the threefold distribution of legislative powers have been very, very efficiently been managed into our country. This we have already discussed in the previous slide, that many new states have been formed, boundaries have changed, people of common language have been brought together, states were created on the basis of culture, on the basis of their community, on the basis of the geographical structure, and this has made the country stay united, and the administration was made easy. The examples are Nagaland, which was formed on the basis of its ethnicity, Uttarakhand according to the geographical area, and Jharkhand in order to make the administrative work easier. This is again a reinforcement of the previous slides regarding the language policy. No language in India has been given the status of national language. Many times we get confused and we say that Hindi is our national language. Hindi is not the only national language. There are 22 languages which has been recognized as scheduled languages. The center also agrees to the use of English along with Hindi. By this, a flexibility is shown because there are many states in India down south wherein the people are unable to speak Hindi. So all the regional languages including Hindi has been taken into consideration, and together we have 22 language which has been recognized as a scheduled language. Now again we see that what is that one thing which has undermined the spirit of federalism. The coalition government has changed many things significantly, and this change came in 1990. This period saw the rise of regional political parties in many states of the country. This was also the beginning of the era of coalition government at the center, since no single party got a clear majority in the Lok Sabha. The major national political parties had to enter into an alliance with many parties, including the regional parties, to form the government at the center. This led to the new culture of power sharing and respect for the autonomy of state government. This trend was supported by a major judgment of the Supreme Court that made it difficult for the central government to dismiss state government in an arbitrary manner. Therefore, we see that the federal power sharing is more effective today than it was in the earlier years after the constitution came into force. So the spirit of federalism is very much alive into our country. We give this credit to the emergence of the coalition government, which has become a way of the political setup after the 1990s. Now let's discuss the question answers. These question answers you need to write in text in your notebook. Those of you who want to write it in your own language, please go ahead and write it. I always say this once because there are some of you who might want to write it into your own words. So you are free to write it. The first question for this part is: explain the threefold distribution of legislative powers between the union government and the state government. Herein you have to write about the union list, state list, and the concurrent list. All the things which are included into different list. You may and you may not write about the residuary powers of the central government. Second question is that the creation of linguistic states was the first and major test of democratic politics in our country. Justify the statement. Now this we discussed in the previous slide, that in 1947 and after that the boundaries of the several old states of India were changed in order to create new states, and this was based on the linguistic structure of that particular area. You can get this answer from page number 19 from your textbook also. Now the last question for this part is: explain the democratic policies adopted by the government of India which has made it into a successful federation. For this you will have to mention about all the policies, that is, you'll have to write about the union list, state list, concurrent list. Then the next is that the three-tier system of governance has been approved by the union, state and local government. There are some states which enjoy special powers, there are some states which do not, and they are grouped under union territories. The fundamental structure of the Indian constitution cannot be unilaterally changed by the parliament, and and the sources of income of different levels has been clearly stated in the constitution to avoid any conflict. And in order to manage this conflict and to resolve the conflict, there are the judicial bodies like the Supreme Court and the High Court, which manages these conflicts within the state or with the center and the state. Thank you all so much. Now we have dealt with two parts of this lesson. There is only one part which is left, which would be given to you into the next class, that is decentralization. Hope you are able to understand what has been previously explained. If any one of you have any doubt, do send me a message or do call me up to clarify your doubts. Do start writing all your question and answers into your fair notebook, so that it becomes easier once this lockdown is over and once we start our classes. There should not be too much of load on you. So start writing the answers, because there are just 2 to 3 answers which I give after every part of the lesson, so that it becomes easier for you. Anyways, for any doubts you have, you can call me up. Thank you all. God bless you.